Dividing complex numbers essentially amounts to rationalizing the denominator, meaning that we're going to make it so there's no more I term in the denominator. To accomplish that, we want to multiply the top and bottom of our fraction by the conjugate of the denominator. The conjugate is found simply by changing that middle sign and nothing else. So the conjugate of 4 minus I is 4 plus I. Since we want to multiply the denominator by 4 plus I, we need to multiply the numerator by the same thing, 4 plus I. Now we need to go ahead and carry out the multiplication on top, which means we're going to FOIL. So we have 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times I would be plus 5I. 4I times 4 would be plus 16I. And 4I times I would be 4I squared. Now on the bottom we'll go ahead and FOIL as well. And we'll see why we want to choose the conjugate here. So 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times I plus 4I. Negative I times 4 would be minus 4I. And then negative I times I is minus I squared. So what we see on the bottom there is that those 4 i's cancel out. So there will be no more I term on the bottom, because you also recall that I squared is equal to negative 1. So we'll go through and replace those I squared terms with negative 1. So that's going to leave us on top with 20 plus, now I do have some like parts there, the 5I plus 16I, so that would be 21I plus 4 times negative 1 over, on the bottom we get 16 minus negative 1. So up top we have 20 plus 21I minus 4 over, on the bottom we end up with a 17. Okay, so now we end up with, on top, 20 minus 4 would be 16 plus 21I over 17. And then to get it completely into standard form, we do need to separate the real part and the imaginary part. So I'm just going to have to go ahead and separate this into two fractions, where I have 16 over 17, that's my real part, plus 21 over 17I. And that'll be the imaginary part. So you'll notice what happened when we multiplied the two conjugates together is that those middle I terms canceled out. That's the reason for choosing the conjugate. And so every time we multiply conjugates together, that's going to happen. Once we do that a few times, we can go ahead and possibly skip that step and just do that first product of the first terms, the 4 times 4, and the product of the last terms.